Welcome to Localite, everybody. It's good to have you here. We're talking about mixed martial arts fighting, and this gal's right here from the Dells, Glena Avila, and she's with me in studios. So let's start with, why did you get involved in this? What brought your interest to doing something like this?
Well, I was raised with all brothers, and so I was always kind of a rough and tumble, scrappy kind of kid. So something like that I was never afraid of or anything like that. And my boyfriend actually started fighting before I did, so I saw him do it a couple times, and I caught a glimpse of YouTube where a couple of girls were fighting, and I thought, I bet I can do that. So I sent an email to the promoter and asked him about it and said, what do I need to do to try it out? And he said, send in an application, and that's, the rest is history.
What are like acceptable fighting tactics? I mean, you can kick, punch, jab, knee, all of those things?
Yes. And it's different from different promotions, and amateurs are quite a bit different than pros. So the basic things that people cannot do is they cannot hit the back of the head. They cannot hit the spine. In a lot of promotions, you cannot kick a down opponent. A lot of them you can. So it just kind of depends. The idea is you can use whatever disciplines you have been taught, whether it be karate, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, boxing, kickboxing, anything like that, and bring it in the cage and see who comes out on top.
So you got involved in this in September of 2009.
Yep.
You've had 4 major fights.
Yes.
All of which you've won.
Yes.
Which explains a couple of the belts we got sitting here.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive, especially since you had no background in this, except, maybe brawling with your brothers.
Right.
Yeah. So how does that feel?
It's still kind of surreal. I still look at the belts and pinch myself sometimes because it just doesn't seem like it's, people have been telling me all along that there was no way I could do it. I wasn't going to win, and I just kept pushing forward. I want to try. I want to see where to go, and
it's really going somewhere.
Yeah.
So as a fighter, what are some of the things that you've learned from when you started in September of 2009 to now?
Well, the MMA community is very small.
Really?
And when I used to watch, say, the UFC or some of the bigger Strike Force and things like that, and I saw all these famous people that I thought they were just incredible, once you get into fighting, you're one of them. You're just one of them. They don't treat you any different. You walk up and talk to them, they invite you to their gyms, and that's amazing.
Yeah. Well, how is it when, you've just been in this cage, just, really just duking it out with somebody. Are you friends afterwards?
Sometimes.
And sometimes not?
Sometimes not.
So do some people take it really personally?
I would say a lot of people do.
Okay.
I don't, but I haven't had to take a loss, so I don't know exactly how that's going to feel. But the girls that I fought, I have a huge amount of respect for them. We all go in there with the same intention. We all go in there with the same goal. We all train hard. Mm-hmm. And so, my last fight, Tia Spurlock, I gave her a hug. It was like right after she tapped, I helped her up and gave her a hug. Told her to keep at it. She's a tough girl.
Yeah. And I think if I'm getting the right fighter was it 90 seconds? Did she like tap out in 90 seconds?
Yeah.
Okay. And you had her in a chokehold or something?
Yes. It was called a guillotine.
Okay.
And I was lucky to capitalize on a mistake that she had made. She shot in and kept her head down, and so I was able to wrap up a standing guillotine. And so I was trying to catch her with the standing guillotine. It would have been a lot faster. She was just a little bit too tall, so I had to pull guard, which is a scary thing. Pulling guard means I pulled her on top of me. I dropped to my back and pulled her on top of me. And that's, a lot of people don't like to do that because that can be a dangerous spot to be in. And I think a common misconception that people have is that if you're on bottom, you're losing. That's not always the case. If you're very good at submission grappling, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, being on your back is sometimes a very dominant position. And for me, in this case, it was a dominant position.
Well, we'll talk about some of your training, some of the extensive exercises and things that you must have to do when we come back from the break. Okay. So you guys stick with us. We have Glena Avila, cage fighter, right here on Localite.